If Kingdom Hearts doesn't win some kind of award, I'm gonna be very upset. Yo, what is up guys? I'm the Media Nut, and right now I am back for a video discussing, pretty late, but still excited, discussing basically everything that's going on when it comes to the Kingdom Hearts 3 premiere events. Everything that we found out about it, my opinions of it, and then also discussing what it could lead to what we're gonna get in E3. As most of you may know by now, the Kingdom Hearts 3 premiere event has recently happened, and we've received lots of amazing gameplay footage from both the Olympus Coliseum world and the Toy Story world, along with a lot of great details. Details that include action, gameplay, new mechanics, summons, story details, and much, much more. Now, in respects to Square Enix, the Kingdom Hearts team, Tetsuya Nomura, and everyone else who went to this event and participated, obviously I'm not going to show any of the cutscenes that were shown, but they did give permission to show gameplay, so this is what you're seeing right now. Basically, the purpose of this video is to discuss some of the things that we've seen in the game so far, and then also kind of speculate what we could receive in E3 along with the Kingdom Hearts Orchestra that's happening next week. Starting with Olympus Coliseum, as you can see, I think we can expect Olympus Coliseum to be one of the first worlds that we learn certain mechanics of gameplay, like the parkour mechanics that we've seen Sora been doing, whether running on walls, jumping on certain areas, along with the idea of attraction flow. My best guess story-wise is that during their training, they probably are roped into helping Hercules stop Hades from taking over Mount Olympus. Maybe Hades has some backup from the organization or something, as I'm gonna mention later in the video, basically that maybe the organization have something with the power of the gods, that they want to use that power for their own nefarious purposes and they're helping Hades. I don't know. In recent trailers, we've seen that Hades wasn't accepting help from Maleficent or Pete, so maybe he's going on his own for this, or maybe because he already has help. I don't know. With that in mind, we're seeing, as shown in multiple trailers before, Sora and friends are fighting the Rock Titan as a boss. I don't think this is the final boss. I think this is a mid-boss on the way to Mount Olympus. They're probably gonna have to fight Hades with the help of Hercules, seeing how Hercules is not part of the party at this moment. Now, a lot of the gaming companies and content creators that went to the event mentioned how the gameplay is very fluid, but also kind of floaty when it comes to how Sora plays. Obviously, like he's not to the extent of Kingdom Hearts 2's floatiness, but similar to kind of like maybe Dream Drop Distance. My personal opinion, the combat looks amazing. I haven't had the chance to really play the game or pick up the game myself, so I can't really give much of an opinion by going off of what other people who have had the chance to play the game said. It seems very fine. It seems something that you can get used to, so I don't think it's that big of an issue. Another thing that I want to point out is that all the worlds that have been showcased during this event, I really appreciate the music. I feel like not a lot of people have discussed the music. I feel like it's really, really good, especially for the Toy Story world, which we're going to get into right now. Basically, the music for Toy Box, which is the name of the Toy Story world. I love the music. It has a really interesting rendition of You Got a Friend in Me from the Toy Story movie, so I really appreciate that. Without showing cutscenes of the Toy Story world, the story of Toy Story world seems to be that the organization has basically split the world into two. So now the Toy Story characters are separated, with the characters who you get to interact with being Woody, Buzz, Rex, Ham, the Green Army Men, and the LGMs. Whereas characters like Andy, Jesse, Bullseye, and others, they're all sent to a different world because of Organization 13 trying to find answers to their missing darkness. Now again, I'm not going to show any of the footage that was shown in the event, but going by the footage and the gameplay, and the fact that Square Enix already mentioned that this demo had only 30% of the Toy Story world available, I'm very excited to say that it looks like Kingdom Hearts 3's worlds are going to be a lot longer than any other world in any other Kingdom Hearts game. Where Olympus Coliseum was more linear and more story focused with the boss, the Toy Story demo was a lot more open world and more about exploration, still following the story, but also really focusing on the gameplay mechanics, the exploration, and everything in between. With what we've seen in Olympus Coliseum and Toy Box, I think it's safe to assume that every world would have some kind of gameplay mechanic or gimmick specific to that world. Now obviously Sora's gonna have gameplay mechanics that could be used in every world, like his parkour and his flow motion. But for example, in Toy Box, you get to take control of these mecha toy suits, and they're really cool for the record. And with that in mind, I don't see a mechanic like that being in another world. So I think it's safe to assume that maybe not every world, but a good amount of worlds will have gameplay mechanics that are specific to that world. Going off of that, like many Kingdom Hearts games, Heartless will also vary depending on the world as well. In earlier gameplay trailers, we see certain Heartless that look specific to the Hercules world, and now we're seeing that again in the Toy Story world, where we're going to see a lot of toy-based Heartless. From space soldiers to plushies to even mechas, I feel it's safe to assume that the Toy Story world is going to have a lot of variety and creativity when it comes to enemy types. That being said, another interesting thing I've noticed when watching the gameplay is that not a single nobody was shown, only Heartless were shown in this demo. Which begs the question, will nobodies show up in certain worlds or not? And if so, what's the conditions that the world has to have in order to have a nobody in it? It's easy to expect a nobody to appear somewhere like Twilight Town, where the organization tends to hang out a lot. But in a world like Toy Box or even Monsters Inc., it's interesting to see if they're going to create special nobodies for these worlds or if they're just going to be left out. Another important thing that I want to talk about is the attraction flow mechanic. From what the demo shows, attraction flow is very specific and very situational. Some attraction roads like Big Thunder Mountain can only be used during bosses, while other attractions like the pirate ship, the Buzz Lightyear ride, the teacups, and now a newly revealed River Canyon ride are all shown to be able to be activated at any which point necessary. It looks like it also depends on the environment, but I think it depends. For example, when you're indoors like in Andy's room, you're able to use the teacups, but when you're somewhere outside like on a patch of grass, you're more likely to be using the pirate ship or the water ride. So does the attraction flow depend on the environment or the enemies that you're facing? And seeing how Square Enix mentioned that the demos used at the event were all in a very easy mode, would the difficulty setting of the game also affect how many times attraction flow can be used? It's definitely an interesting concept to think about. We also got to see a really cool mechanic that I didn't expect I wanted until I saw it, being the ability to change your Keyblade in the middle of fighting. From what it seems, you could equip 3 different types of Keyblades, and then in the middle of your adventure, use the directional buttons to switch between the Keyblades. Seeing that, we were also able to take a look at how some of the Keyblade transformations work, and you can actually hold that transformation when you switch a Keyblade. Let's say for example you're in the middle of using the monster yo-yos from the Monsters Inc. Keyblade, but then you decide you want to go for a more magical approach, so you switch to the Tangled Keyblade. The monster yo-yo Keyblade would still be in its transformation when you switch back. I found that to be extremely interesting, but also a little concerning more of how overpowered Sora is. While I did notice that Heartless do tend to live a little longer in this game, I'm wondering if that's enough to make it more difficult, especially since Sora has all these abilities. And speaking of which, the final thing I want to touch upon is the summons. Yes, I know technically we're supposed to be calling them links, but after seeing the gameplay for some of them, honestly, they're just really cooler versions of summons. So funny enough, we were actually able to see 3 different types of summons in the trailer. The first one was Meow Wow from Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance, where you can bounce around attacking enemies and then finish off with an explosion of Dream Eaters, which I found really cute, very fun, and a nice callback to your adventures in Dream Drop Distance. It looks like whatever connection Sora made with them in that game is going to transfer over to Kingdom Hearts 3, which I really like. The second summon you're going to be able to use is the Little Mermaid herself, Ariel, who pops out and helps you fight enemies by diving in and out of imaginary water, basically, making a string of combos of you jumping in and out of the watery floor, and then ending the combo in a devastating but beautiful water fountain dance arrangement. This final move has you dancing around with Ariel around water, which kind of like reminds you of what happens in Kingdom Hearts 2 without having you have to sing. But it also kind of gives you vibes of some of the water fountains you'll see at the parks, which is a nice little touch. And then the final summon, which is the one I got really hyped for because I was hoping this character would be in Kingdom Hearts. Wreck-It Ralph is in Kingdom Hearts 3. Holy flip, that's awesome. Basically, you summon Ralph from the Fix-It Feel It game. He appears, and then you build these block items that paralyzes your enemies, in which Ralph can then slam into them, and then the final blow is Ralph wrecking the blocks that he created, making a giant explosion that all the enemies get hit with. I found it interesting that Ralph didn't really have a voice, and instead was kind of kept with like some video game noises, but he's basically silent. Either way, it's really cool to see him as a summon, and I hope that means we can get a world of his at some point. At the event, people were also able to get a look at Kairi's new outfit for Kingdom Hearts 3. Though we didn't really get a chance to see Kairi in that outfit, it was more of an outfit that you could gain in Unchained Key. But they did confirm that will be the outfit that Kairi is wearing. So my best guess is that somewhere in E3 or at the orchestra, we're going to be seeing Kairi, which will be one of the first things we'll see. My best guess is that we're going to have at least 2 Kingdom Hearts trailers. One during E3, another during the orchestra. I feel like at E3 they're going to reveal some new world, along with more gameplay and story elements. Whereas the orchestra, they're probably going to give us some info about the new song, maybe the opening of the game, and possibly the release date. Now, when it comes to the release date, they could either reveal that either at E3 or the orchestra. I'm okay with either. That being said, my dream prediction of what we can expect, since Kingdom Hearts is so prevalent in the week to come, is that Nintendo appears and announces that Kingdom Hearts 3 will be playable on the Switch. And then we end the event with a trailer showing Sora joining Smash. Now, I'll talk a bit more about this in a future video. I feel like Kingdom Hearts 3 can really hit the ball out of the park with something like this. But to be honest, any announcement from them will be exciting, especially with that release date. But with that in mind, what did you think about the stuff that they revealed at the Kingdom Hearts 3 event? Would you like to see Sora in Smash Bros? Do you like the way that Sora plays in the game so far? And most importantly, what are you hoping to see for Kingdom Hearts 3 at E3 and the orchestra? And with that in mind, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for listening. For more videos like this, make sure to support us on Patreon. And please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos. And don't forget to keep doing you, keep on sharing laughs, and keep on rambling. See ya!